Welcome to Talkin Giants, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, with my co-host Justin Pennick, and Danny King's here with us for the final show. It's the final show of the 2021 New York Giants season. Got a decent amount to get to in this. The most important thing is the fantasy draft. You know, if you've been following along the fantasy draft, me and Danny have a 4-point difference. Justin's only 26 points back. We'll finish off spread picks, Giant factors, and stuff. And we're gonna talk about Joe Judge. Should he be fired? Will he be fired? At the top, but I usually throw it to Justin, but I'm going to throw it to Danny first. Danny, happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Nice little birthday present, even though it's one of those weird shows where we're going to be talking about someone's job. You got to love it. And I'd say, the biggest part of this whole show is the fantasy draft now. I guess Joe Judge is like what the future is important, but the fantasy draft right now is where it's at. Yeah,
I'm that's what I'm like, I usually put together a big board somewhat quickly. Today, it was like the most research I ever spent into it,
For me, it's the opposite.
So, Justin, how are you?
Hey, happy birthday, Danny King. Hi, Bobby Skinner. Hi, everyone. Take it also today to celebrate. I know, listen, we're all Giants fans and we didn't enjoy the Giants season, but I think we should all celebrate regardless of whether you...
We'll miss it. 9 months until the next game.
That is true. I'm going to the game on Sunday, so I am looking forward to going to the game and celebrating with everybody. Candlewick Diner. Again, I'll give another ad. Snacks and I, plus some other friends, we're going to be going to David Powis, old co-host of Bleeding Blue. If you've been following me for a long time, you get a chance to maybe meet him. We're all going to be going to the Candlewick Diner after the game, so come join us, regardless of whether you go to the Giants game or not. If you're in the area, come join us. But yeah, I love football. I love watching football, and I'm excited for playoff football to see some good football, but also witnessing it live and witnessing the Giants. There's nothing like rooting for the Giants, and even though the season stunk, I want today to kind of be a celebration. I also want Sunday to be a celebration of getting through the season as well, because if there's one thing that we do deserve to celebrate, it's the fact that we survived this season.
Yeah, we survived a season that we went into with hope. Like, I think most Giants fans went into the season with some
Absolutely.
Hope. And just have it be essentially like the worst season since 2017, and maybe even worse than that. It's frustrating for multiple reasons.
That's great.
And again, we're going to talk about Joe Judge in a second, and we usually try and get into the football stuff quick. But since it is the last episode of the season, I do want to say a sincere thank you to our listeners. We became the #1 Giants podcast. On the podcast app, we grew 298% this year. Oof. Throughout the draft, through everything, 298%. On YouTube, our views went up 280%. And here's what I like the most. Our views went up 280%. The hours watched went up 387%. So people are staying more engaged. You guys gave us all of a lot of love this year. It was doing Talkin Giants was fun, even though the Giants team wasn't fun this season. And so we only asked one time. And me and Justin, before the season, we plan out when we're going to ask for reviews. And it's like, let's get after 2 big wins. Well, we kind of only had 1 big win. Maybe we should have asked for it after the Eagles game, but we're like, we'll do it after a different game. We only had 1 big win, and it was against the Saints. So we're going to ask you this. The simplest and easiest way to help us. There's people who do Patreon. There's all kinds of different ways people support. But the simplest and easiest way is to go to the Apple Podcast app and leave a 5-star rating and review. Honestly, it's you know what? I'm going to say it. You owe it to us. If you've listened to us for more than 2 episodes, you owe us that 5-star rating and review. And even if you don't listen on the Apple Podcast app, go to the Apple Podcast app, whether you're listening on YouTube or Spotify.
Somebody has an iPhone in your life.
Yeah, someone in your family has an iPhone. Leave the review. Like, you guys see me, I will end this damn show. I will end this show if we don't gain another 200 reviews by next Friday.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm serious. I'll burn this son of a gun to the freaking ground. I'll take it down with me. So leave a freaking 5-star rating and review. Like, seriously, think about what you're doing right now, and could I reasonably stop and do it? Oh, well, I'm driving. You can do it while you're driving. We said this last year. You can drive and leave a 5-star rating and review at the same time. It's not complicated. Don't be silly. You can do it. You text and drive. Admit it. Mm-hmm. I don't, but you better admit that you do. So, no, a sincere thank you.
Yeah, and on the note of the 5-star ratings, I mean, I when I started podcasting, it was that's the only thing I really looked at. It wasn't necessarily the numbers or it's like, oh, I want to get to 100 ratings. And when I joined Talkin Giants, there was around 100 5-star ratings on the Apple Podcast app. And now, 2 years later, there's over 1,300. There's 1,300, which is kind of bizarre. Yes, Bobby Skinner, there's not enough, but it's really, really cool, and I'm very, very thankful for everybody. I mean, YouTube crowd even contributes to that podcast rating, so thankful for everybody, thankful for all of you, and the season.
The off season is just starting for us.
And I was just about to say that
very hard.
I was just about to say that we've been quiet on social media recently, and we've been doing some Simple Man Radio stuff, which is really fun. If you like us as people, I think that's a good thing to check out, the Simple Man Radio show every Thursday. But we're quiet on social media. It's for a reason. We're getting ready for the offseason. The end of January is going to be so awesome when we go to the Senior Bowl. So really, the Giants season is slowing down, but we are not slowing down. Like, it is legitimately, sometimes shows say, oh, we're just getting started. No, like, really, we are legitimately just getting started. Even with talking football stuff, it's going to be really, really, really cool.
Yeah, the show never ends. And we get like a break in July. All right, let's get into it, because we're not going to give you a Washington preview, even though the podcast title is Washington Preview.
None of you care.
So this game is Dave Gettleman's last game as a New York Giant. We all feel pretty confident about that. Although, Justin, I'm really intrigued to see how that John Mara press conference is navigated, because he's going to retire. They're going to give him the honor of retiring. So how is that going to be talked about? It's not like it was like Coughlin, like a superstar, where you can try and remember the good times, when he resigned, even though we knew it was a firing. With Gettleman, there has been no good time, so I'm going to be really interested to see how Mara navigates that press conference.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad, weird, scummy feel where Tom Coughlin got the short end of the stick, and Dave Gettleman, I think, is going to get a similar treatment, because Tom Coughlin got a bad treatment, and Dave Gettleman should also be getting a bad treatment in the eyes of the classy New York Giants organization, and I'm putting everything in quotations there. John Mara last year, Research Rick pulled this up, John Mara last year spoke on Wednesday after the season. Wednesday at 10:15,
But we didn't make any moves. So the year before was on a Monday.
This is okay, so maybe it will come on a Monday.
It'll come the day it should come the day of the Gettleman announcement.
So you don't think that Monday statement is put out by the Giants and then Tuesday or Wednesday is the press conference? You think it's same day?
Well, in 2019 they fired Shermer and they had a press conference the same day.
Okay. But this is a retirement.
But also, it's not like an actual retirement.
I know, but that's the thing.
So I would expect Monday or Tuesday at the latest. I would not expect him to go till Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Tuesday is what I'm expecting, because
Tuesday feels accurate.
They're going to keep Judge, and he's going to do their end of season pressers and stuff. So, well, actually, that's what we're going to talk about. Joe Judge. Been a tumultuous week for him after that press conference. It's been. There was essentially a vote of confidence that Joe Judge was going to come back and be the head coach, and we kind of all had accepted it. And then that press conference happened, and I think a lot of people grabbed onto that, like, here's what we got. Let's pound it. This is the flesh we need to get him out of here. So I'm going to throw it around for 2 questions. Justin, do you think Joe Judge will be fired next week?
No, I do not think Joe Judge will be fired.
Danny, do you think he'll be fired?
I'm going to say yes.
You think he will be fired, not what you want. You think Joe Judge will be fired?
I think he will.
Do you think the press conference had any, did that change them for them, or is it just the fact that they're so bad right now?
I say it's the fact that they're so bad right now. That's what, I don't think press conference should have changed much.
Justin, would you be shocked if he's fired?
Yes, actually, yes.
I would be shocked if Joe Judge is fired. I'm serious. I would be blown away. We knew for the last 3 firings that I've been conscious, and I'm sure it was the same way with Fossil.
You've been conscious?
I conscious of Giants ins and outs.
Okay.
We knew.
Were you in a coma?
Tom Coughlin we knew was happening.
Yeah.
Ben McAdoo, we knew was once the backlash came, it's like by the end of that week, it's like, okay, they're gonna fire him, and Pat Shurmur, we knew with 3 weeks left, going into the Dolphins game, we knew essentially for a fact that Pat Shurmur was going to be fired. they leak stuff. And the fact that Gettleman is going to be gone, there's probably not like anything being, shut tight.
I shouldn't be shocked, but the fact that I'm trying to think of, okay, let's have a Joe Judge is fired episode, and then Justin, what is your takes on that for Talkin Giants? I can't even begin to formulate that right now. Like I shouldn't be shocked, but I would be 100%. I would be.
The way Mara talked about Judge is why you should be shocked. But there's just a gut feeling I have right now. Something just feels ominous about this team right now, and it feels like change is coming.
Here's my thing: is we haven't heard anything. The last time we heard was that Judge was going to be back. I think they'll do it under the sham of, we're gonna let the new GM come in and make a decision. But I would be blown away if Joe Judge is being brought back. We would know by now. And maybe when you're listening to this on Saturday evening and we got a Jay Glazer report.
Exactly.
But we would know by now if Joe Judge was gone. And nothing hinted that he was going to be fired in weeks before this. And I know the press conference wasn't good. I don't think it was bad as people made it out to be, but it surely wasn't good. I just don't see that swaying John Mara. And I don't think John Mara is a good owner at all. I think he's a horrible owner. But I also don't think he's dumb enough to let Sunday, a game where Jake Fromm is starting, make the decision. Sunday will have no bearing on Joe Judge's career game in that 60 minutes of game. If he goes nuts again after the game, then maybe. And we'll be able to probably tell from Joe Judge's presser too if he's gone or not, because he'll know if he's gone.
That's my biggest ask of Joe Judge this Sunday. Just don't, I know you're going to not go for it on fourth down. I know you're going to probably call a timeout that you're not supposed to call. Just don't do anything too, oh my God,
Well, that leads me to my next question. Do you want Joe Judge fired? And we've all made our stances clear. And what is the biggest reason why, Justin?
Yes, I do want him.
Not?
I do want him fired, and the offense just doesn't score points. That's the end of the line, end of the day. His offense does not score points. Is it his offense? Is it not his offense? I mean, they had an opportunity with very bad circumstances, with injuries, offensive line, and quarterback, most importantly, post Jason Garrett. They had an opportunity, and it just flat out hasn't even been competitive. Has not even been competitive. So if that is what the collaborative process is going to somewhat look like going forward, then again, why should I think that the cap for this offense is only average? It all does depend on who the offense coordinator is. But that, at the end of the day, why do I want Joe Judge fired? His team and his offense does not score points in a league that is very much predicated on scoring points.
I also agree that I think Joe Judge should be fired. But my reason is different, and to me it has all to do with the GM cycle. That is the main reason. That paired with Joe Judge hasn't done anything to make me be like, no, I like this guy so much, bring him back. Because I don't hate him. I really don't hate him as much as other people do. But he hasn't done enough paired with the GM cycle. Let the GM you hopefully you don't scare away any of the better GM candidates. You don't want that implicit bias of the GM and talking with Mara and what do you think about Joe Judge type stuff? And let's stop screwing up the cycle. That's our hope. I don't want a head coach on the hot seat with a brand new GM. That doesn't work well. That doesn't mix well with a team that has to essentially start over to have that. So my biggest reason simply is the cycle of GM head coach. Stop screwing that up. Let's do a real GM search. Let's get the best guy in here and let him find his head coach. Even if you don't think Joe Judge is the main reason why this team sucks, I bet you we can find a really good head coach. They're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny King, where are you?
I mean, you guys have said, like Justin said, the Giants don't score points. I believe they have a negative point differential in the NFL. They don't go for it. Joe Judge he's not an aggressive coach. He doesn't go for it on fourth down when he realistically needs to. There's multiple times throughout the season you could argue they should have went for it. They either kick a field goal or they punted to win the quote-unquote field position battle. The Giants never win that because the teams usually drive down the field. But I brought up the other point, this GM head coaching cycle. They made Pat Shurmur the scapegoat, and now Joe Judge, will he be fired? Probably not. So now Dave Gettleman will quote-unquote be the scapegoat, and then Joe Judge can go around, make his own things, maybe get a GM that fits his own vision. I just don't he talks about the progress inside the building. I frankly don't care about the progress inside the building. I want the progress that people like Justin, season ticket holders pay for on the field, those single game tickets that I pay for to go to games, the memorabilia I buy, the jerseys, the sweatshirts. I don't see they went 6-10 and we were excited about that. That speaks about the state of the franchise. That 6-10 gets us excited. And I get they had injuries this year. That's understandable. But guess what? Every team has injuries every single year. It's how you build around it. And the Giants didn't have the depth to win with these injuries.
Danny, you buy jerseys from first-round picks every single year, right?
I do. And
how many of those jerseys are actually worth something and not something you should burn?
Probably Baker, because that's a joke.
Andrew Thomas is like the only one. Right?
Andrew Thomas. If we're going for like shock factor, DeAndre Baker, because people are like, you have a DeAndre Baker jersey. I'm like, yeah, I do, because I'm an idiot.
The funny thing is, you had to buy 3 that year.
Yeah, 3, and I'll get to buy 2 this year. If it's 2 offensive linemen, I'll get 1. 2, you're gonna make me lose my mind.
Hope we trade back, and every year Danny has to buy 2 new jerseys.
I would be broke.
Danny might end up with the whole O-line's jerseys eventually.
If
they get 2 offensive line, you got to get a Nick Gates jersey too, and just get 4 out of the 5 linemen.
I'll rep a Nick Gates jersey because Nick Gates, he's a Talkin Giants versus the world type guy. He's a great guy. You got to root for Nick Gates to come back.
All right. Anything? Chris Myrick went to the Bengals. They thought they were going to get him on a futures contract.
Oh no!
I'm rooting for the Bengals in the playoffs so Chris Myrick can enjoy some success.
They got a former, or I don't view Aziz as the rookie sack leader. I view that as a BJ Hill still.
How do you? It's just a fact.
Nope. You know how they don't view who's the actual record holder, Justin?
Lawrence Taylor's the actual record holder.
Okay, so since they don't recognize Lawrence Taylor, I don't recognize Aziz. I recognize BJ Hill. That's where we're at right now.
Okay.
When's the last time Aziz? Actually, no, he got one the other day, a couple games ago, I think. Okay. Should we do the award show?
Hang on, I just got. Is Gettleman? Do we think he's going to be at this press conference, or is he just not going to be there?
I think he's gone. I don't think they're gonna drag him out for that.
I want him to be.
Oh, I want him.
But he will not.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not going to drag him out for that. That would be wild. All right, award. So the rest of the show is a fantasy draft, our Giant Factors, spread picks. So you're not going to get a ton of Giants analysis. But I thought of this award. The media every year. I don't know why I find it so funny. I'm the only person who finds it hilarious, but it's the media Good Guy Award.
Mm-hmm.
And they give it to who they think was the best with the press that year, the best player with the media. And I just think the title of that award is so funny that the media thinks they're the arbiter of who's good and who's not based on the way they deal with them. You don't know anything about these people, but if anything, Kadarius Toney, he was the most candid with the media, and he's not a good he didn't get any votes. Saquon Barkley got 3 votes. And they gave it to Leonard Williams this year, Justin.
Here's a Leonard Williams joke. Well, that's the only award he's getting this year.
Bam. So he got the Good Guy Award. So I decided to make our own award presented by Talkin Giants, and it is for the best Giants beat reporter. And the title of it is the Not Sure If You're a Good Person But Best Giants Beat Reporter, presented by Kadarius Toney Award, presented by Talkin Giants.
It's technically the Talkin Giants Patreon.
Well, this presented by Talkin Giants. The voters are the Talkin Giants Patreon.
We did not vote on this. This is not according to myself, Danny, or Bobby.
We should have put our votes in, but it wouldn't have made a difference.
No, I don't want my votes.
But we actually do need to put our votes in next year if it's close. Again, it's the Not Sure If You're a Good Person But Best Giants Reporter, presented by Kadarius Toney Award, presented by Talkin Giants, or for short, the Tonys. The Tonys. So this is the first annual. And so I'm going to give you 3rd place.
Ooh.
3rd place from The Record, USA Today, Arch Stapleton. 3rd place. He did go at us a couple weeks ago, but Justin, you still have Arch Stapleton's chair. This is your last chance to bring it back to him.
I do. I need to get it from one of my friends.
You have to get it back to him. But Art is our guy.
My bad for stealing your quote back in 2019, Art. My bad.
Friend of the show. In fact, the top 4 vote getters were friends of the show. 2nd place. with 46. Oh, and the voting was you voted first, second, third, first place. First place votes 3 points. Second place 2. Third place 1. Second place, Zach Rosenblatt of NJ.com. Who would have thought an NJ.com guy would get on this list?
Exactly.
He's a trailblazer.
Zach Rosenblatt. How about that? So he's second place.
Hopefully he's off that highway.
It's pretty funny to see the pointage of first place. 77 points of the athletic Dan Duggan. So Dan Duggan is your first annual, not sure if you're a good person, but best Giants reporter presented by Kadarius Toney Award presented by Talkin Giants. Congrats, Dan. You get a trophy and a $20 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts. How about that? So,
I think we should make it Little Caesars, to be honest.
Oh,
but people don't want Little Caesars.
That is true. People don't want Little
Dunkin'
Caesars.
is
I think
pretty
that's
solid.
also partially why it's funny.
So, does Little Caesars even have gift cards?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
They're probably not there yet.
they sell it behind the dumpster at the store.
So I had the trophy sent to Dan Duggan. He better take a freaking picture with it. Like, you have to take a picture with it. To round off the voting, fourth place was Jordan Renan with 15 points. Now, I'm going to say this name because I didn't, but next year we can't have people like this because I don't want to take it away. Wes Steinberg took fifth with 12 points. Patricia Traina and Ed Valentine tied with 6 points. Tom Rock got 2 points, and the Carpenter got 1 point. So
No
Pat
Paul.
Leonard got no points. Matt Lombardo got no points. So
The
P
Carpenter.
P dot. No P dot.
Yeah, no P dot.
all right, let's we've hit the final week of pro football regular season, and that's why we're giving our awards. And college football is heading into the national championship. DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer. You're not going to believe this crap. To get all fans in on the action for this exciting time on the football calendar, new customers can bet just $5 on any football team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. So let's wind down the season with a big old win, a big old sloppy win. It'll just pull it out and just drop that win on the table. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still find your way to the winner's circle. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. I think you can bet in New York like this weekend, right?
9 a.m.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY. Bet just $5 on any football team, college or pro, and win $200 in free bets if they're victorious. That's promo code JOHNBOY this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or Indiana 1-800-9-WITH-IT. All right, so I kind of like to welcome Danny King on. It's like, so welcome Danny King on.
Just welcome him on again.
Yeah. So we now welcome on Danny King for weather and trivia. What's the weather looking like in East Rutherford?
Happy
I was
birthday,
very
Danny.
close to going. I was very close to going today, but we couldn't figure with our plans fell through.
It's unfortunate that the plans fell through. But I guess, I won't talk about that because, Justin, I know you're going to be outside, and thank you again for the happy birthday wish, Justin. It's going to be 39 degrees Sunday in the air conditioner known as MedLife. Here's where it gets not so fun. There is a chance of rain.
God, that's horrible.
I got a 60% chance of rain, some wind, but I got a 60% chance of rain, 39 degrees. I'm going to hope it doesn't rain for all the crazy people that decide to go to that game because that will not be a fun game to sit
I would not go. If I flew up there to go to the game and it started raining, I wouldn't go in the stadium.
Yeah, that's also partially why I was really pushing for that thing that we were talking about before the show. So,
That's miserable.
That's
and also
wow.
I've really dug my grave where I wouldn't if I didn't dig my grave and I didn't say that I really want to go to this game and everybody that says that I shouldn't go are a bunch of morons, and I said that on Monday and Sunday about the game, like this upcoming game. If I didn't say that and I didn't have that public stance on Twitter, then I wouldn't go. And I would just go to the Candlewick Diner after the game. But now that I did that, I have to go. I would be such a fraud if I did not go. And there's also a lot like Weiss, NYG Daily, Jack Corderaro. They're all, they're going to the game. So there's some friends that are going, and Wes is going to the game. Wes Locke, he's going to the game.
Oh, I thought it was Steinberg.
There's some friends that are going, and we gotta just grin and bear it, man. One more time. I would hate it if I didn't go.
Like, of course, if Bobby was up there, then I would have no choice but to go, because if everyone's there, I would be idiot to sit at home.
If I was just going to buy tickets, my decision was to be like, hey, Danny, would you go? Like, I can get us 2 tickets.
Nah, I probably would have won at that point, but
I decided not to go. You know what it is I saved up some money. We got our bonuses at the end of the year. Oh. So I got a little bit of money saved up. And I just realized, I was like, stop being an asshole, Bobby. Stop letting, anytime you have money in your pocket, burn a hole in it. Like, I'm just so bad with that. So I'm like, you know what? Save the freaking money up. Any trivia? I was thinking, like, next year we could keep track of trivia points, but we keep track of everything. Let's just let trivia be trivia. What's the trivia question?
Simple one this week. Just who has the most rushing touchdowns against Washington? There are 3 people. 1 person has done it twice, so it's technically 2 people.
In a game.
In a game. Single.
See, I hate these trivia questions when there's multiple answers.
Saquon Barkley's 1.
Saquon, I'll say Brandon Jacobs and Otis Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Justin, you have another answer or no?
There's 3?
Well, there's 2 people. 1 person's done it twice. He has.
Oh, then Saquon and Brandon Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Era? Can I get an era for the second player?
No.
I just want an era.
No. That gives it away. That literally gives it away.
I don't know how to.
Just don't give it to him. Pick somebody. How about pick somebody, Justin.
Old or new?
Pick somebody, Justin.
I will tell you.
Fantasy draft.
Joe Morris.
Okay. Tiki Barber is 1. He has 3 touchdowns against Washington. And I did choose this question because of the man.
2006.
And I did choose this question because of the man. Justin said it was Joe Morris. He did it in 1984, 1985. He had 3 touchdowns against the Washington football team. So I guess you can't talk about that because you already did the interview with Joe Morris, but you could think about that trivia question when Justin and finally releases the Joe Morris interview.
Was it 2006 Tiki Barber?
Yes, 2006 Tiki Barber. I'll try to limit it down to like 1 person per question, but like this question, it was like, let's have some fun with it.
Good for me.
Fun.
I haven't had any fun doing trivia this year.
It's hard. None of these questions are easy because like you're like, oh, it's just Odell, and it's like, no, it's Ruben Randall holds a random record for the Giants.
Ruben. All right. The fantasy draft. In last place, but still close, the defending champion, who will maybe lose his crown, but is only 26.8 points behind Justin. I'll be picking first, and I lost the lead after having the lead for a few weeks. I'm down 4 total points. 4 total points at 550.9. I had a 15.5 point outing last week. And then Danny, who had a 31-point outing last week, took the lead by 4 total points. I'm telling you, I will be updating. I'll be updating this every single drive of the game. I'm going to be updating this. I'm so invested in this fantasy draft. I want to win so bad. One, it's Justin won it the first year. I wanted to win it the second year, and I don't want to be the guy who lost the lead late at the end. So I'll be picking first, Danny second, Justin third, and I know everyone's going to focus on me and Danny, but Justin can win this. It's not like people have overcome, they've had weeks where they win by 26 points, and especially with this Giants offense, you pick the right 3-4 guys, and the other guys suck. It's not impossible. So I have the first pick, and I'm going Terry McLaurin. Because it's PPR, Antonio Gibson's coming off the COVID list. There's no one on the Giants I can really pick, except for maybe Saquon. I am going to pick Terry McLaurin first. He's been their best wide receiver all year. He's had success versus James Bradbury the last 2 times they've played him. So Terry McLaurin will be my first pick in the final fantasy draft of the year.
Wow, I'm extremely nervous. The nerves have really built up right now. It's just a fantasy draft, Danny. Why are you nervous, you idiot? No, this is life right now. We need to bet
something on this.
I'd be down to figure something out. We could do that at the end of the draft, I would say. Because my pick, it will be Antonio Gibson. I know he's coming off the COVID list. I'd see just as excited over there, but I'm going to take a player that I know I can trust, And I haven't heard Antonio Gibson had a bad case of COVID, unlike some other players around the league. So I'm going to trust in Antonio Gibson's ability to get me points on Sunday.
Do you want to bet $50?
Whoa, $50. Hang on. Well, that's kind of crazy.
I know, but I'm feeling.
Man got the bonus and he's throwing around cash. We'll discuss the bet at the end of this.
No, we got to figure it out right now. Justin, what do you think is a?
Jesus.
What about 20?
I would be fine with. 20.
I think 20 is fair.
Yeah, 20 is simple enough where we're not you're not hurting. All right, Justin, you have back-to-back picks.
The first pick I'm going with is Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised he.
You know what? I'm happy you took Saquon because I didn't want you to get cute and let Danny get Saquon. So yes, I'm actually happy with that pick because
that's what I was planning. I thought Justin would get cute and let me get Saquon.
So I actually love that pick.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean Saquon. I'm saving some of my Saquon thoughts for another segment we do later, and I'm gonna be picking Jarrett Patterson from Washington. I got to swing big. Antonio Gibson was a limited participant in practice on Thursday with the hip. So if they want to split reps and if they want to split, Patterson did score a touchdown last week and he did have a decent fantasy day. So I got to swing for the fences. If he's going to get a goal line carry or if they're going to split, I think Patterson gives me the best shot versus wide receiver 2, 3, 4, and tight end 1 for Washington. So give me him.
Okay, I like that pick. I mean, he was 5th on my big board anyways. You picked him 4th, so that's not even a bad value right there.
I was unaware of a hip.
I mean, it was limited. Antonio Gibson was a limited participant, so he probably plays, but it's there.
All right, Danny, second pick. Now, this is where it gets dire because there's no easy pick now.
I'm not going to let him slip by me this week. I feel like he's going to make a statement this week. Give me Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Wow. I'm glad you picked him because I didn't want to have the decision of picking Evan Ingram and just being like 2 catches, 7 yards.
Just give me a touchdown, Jake.
I am low on the board. So I told myself I'm going to be 100% true to my big board, and that's what I'm going to do. This guy's had success versus the Giants. He's essentially their number 2 wide receiver right now. I'm going Cam Sims. Cam Sims. I'm getting both their top 2 wide receivers. Bam. And you know what else I'm doing? I'm picking their number 1 tight end out of BYU. Was at the Senior Bowl last year. Looked like a solid player. I'm going John Bates. John Bates with my second pick. So I have their 1-2 hit punch at wide receiver and their tight end. I'm getting every Washington reception this week. Danny, who's your third pick?
My third pick, it's gonna be, no, I can't. I'm gonna go with the guy that's been getting touches every single week, and that's Devante Booker.
That's the smart pick. That is the smart pick right here.
Yeah, he's gonna get carries with Saquon. This might be one of those heavy running games again.
All right, Justin, your last 2 picks of the year.
Jesus.
Kenny Galladay.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he wasn't gonna. Actually, no, I'm glad because it's another. Don't let Danny get him.
It just makes the most sense, and I mean, that's basically it. So you want to know what? I'm gonna go with De'Ami Brown and hope he gets a home run because there's been some big plays that he's made this year. He hasn't made a ton, doesn't have a lot of catches, but De'Ami Brown, hope he can get a big play and hope it helps me. So again, I gotta hit home runs. I can't just be conservative. So De'Ami Brown's gonna wrap it up for me.
All right, we got 2 more picks, Danny. Let's finish it off. I got 2 guys left on the big board, so who are you forcing on me? Who are you picking and who are you forcing on me?
I'm taking Adam Humphries.
Oh, damn it. You know,
I was stressing for this man to be. I was like, Justin, don't you dare take Adam Humphries. I don't know.
I wanted to get Humphries so I could have their entire receiving core.
Not happening. I'm making you choose between the bottom of the barrel.
All right, Darius Slayton.
Oh, I swear, if Darius Slayton catches a touchdown this week, I don't.
He's had a lot of success. Well, Will Jackson's out, but he's had success versus Washington in the past. So
I would want him so far from my team.
All right, to recap, I'm 4 points behind Danny in the lead. I have Terry McLaurin, Cam Sims, John Bates, Darius Slayton. Danny with the lead has Antonio Gibson, Evan Ingram, Devante Booker, and Adam Humphries. And Justin with trailing by 26.8 points. Saquon Barkley, Jared Patterson, Kenny Galladay, De'Ami Brown. All right, Giant Factors. I get the first pick, and the fantasy draft is making my decision. Darius Slayton, Come on, man. Give me something. I want to win this fantasy draft. Darius Slayton, give me something. You haven't had a touchdown since you played Washington. Give me something, dude. Come on. Maybe even just 3 catches, 40 yards. I can't have a 0. I can't have a 0 this week, Darius Slayton. So Darius Slayton is my giant factor. Danny, who's your giant factor this week?
I'll be taking, he's returning this week, Billy Price. This is just like Billy Price, the Price family went through a terrible situation a few, last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever the situation occurred. Billy Price is already coming back to the field. So I'm just rooting for Billy Price to be back out there, rooting for the best for the Price family. And Billy Price, just, you're love the Price family. He's a boss for coming back and finishing the season when in reality he didn't have to.
Yeah, it's obviously super sad. Justin, who is your giant factor?
It's a very wholesome giant factor, Danny. I am going to be going with Saquon Barkley. This could be his last game as a Giant. In some ideal world, it is. Which is so crazy to think about that as an underrated storyline heading into this weekend. But this dude owns Washington. You know, even I think his biggest, best play this year is the 30-yard run that he had against Washington earlier this year. And sure, he didn't have a great game, but the games that he has had in the past, 2018 and 2019, he has owned Washington, especially when he's in Washington. But this time we're in MetLife. Saquon Barkley, go out there, be a giant factor for possibly your last game as a Giant, which is wild.
Before we get into spread picks, let's go rapid fire. Saquon Barkley, last game as a Giant, yes or no?
Yes.
No. Not. It's not what we want. What we think. Evan Ingram, last game as a Giant, yes or no? I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm also saying no.
Is Kyle Rudolph worth it? Jabril Peppers, last game being a part of the Giants organization.
Yes.
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 Any other one we want to do real quick?
Oh, Shepard. No, you guys already talked about that.
That's a tougher one than I think people make it out to be, honestly.
Oh, I'm still not over the news from last night regarding Shepard. I'm still trying to recover from that.
He's getting divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ignore that stuff.
Divorce sucks.
All right, let's do spread picks. Now, Justin went 5-3 last week. Worst out of all of us. He's 62-70 on the year. And there's a little bit to play for on this. I am the defending champ. The Danny has won the championship. It's a lock at this point.
I can run and grab my belt.
Congrats to your championship, Danny.
Okay,
the listeners, they've got a lot. They can't finish 500 this week. You know what their actually, it wouldn't matter because it would move off this number. But they're 66-66. Bunch of satanic sons of guns. They went 6-2 last week. I also went 6-2. I'm at 69. Nice. And 63. And then Danny, off of back-to-back 7-1 weeks, is 80-52. I'm almost rooting for Danny at this point to do well because I want to see how big he can get that spread. Do we have any? We don't have any more ads, right?
No.
All right. First game, we got Bears at Vikings -3.5. Kirk Cousins is going to start. Justin Fields will not. He got COVID. Danny, who do you got?
This game. That doesn't matter. We need Minnesota to win, and so I'm picking them. Give me that. Kirk, get it done, buddy. We need you one last time. Justin, let's get the narrative point going.
I agree with you, Danny, because Cousins is playing and the Bears are bad. The listeners agree. Justin, you have to agree, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Vikings -3.5. Steelers at Ravens -5.5. Maybe Big Ben's last game. Probably. They still are mathematically in the playoff hunt, but I don't think they'll get it. The Ravens, can I say something about injuries? So it's now the Titans are a good example of really being good. But I've also seen the Ravens they're injured like crazy, and look at them. It's well, look at who they usually are, and look at them now, going to miss the playoffs most likely. They had a severe drop-off.
Yeah, they did.
And they have way better, they have maybe some of the best depth of the league. So, yeah, we're not the Ravens. But anyways, I feel like Big Ben is he's going to finish off with a win versus the Ravens. Steelers +5.5. Justin, who do you got?
Yeah, I have a Steelers +5.5 in this too. I feel like even if the Steelers lose, they cover. So
yeah, that's a big spread. Danny, what about you?
Yeah, I mean the Ravens are a practice squad right now, so I'll be taking Steelers. I think our Terrell Suggs going back to the stadium on Sunday, so that should be exciting. I don't
That's
know.
interesting. The listeners who are represented by Blair Stewart, one of our Talkin Giants Patreons, pick Ravens -5.5. 49ers at Rams -4.5. Justin, who do you got?
49ers +4.5.
Danny, who do you got?
Rams.
See, the thing is that the 49ers are good against the Rams.
That's the
You know,
one.
like they own the Rams. They're going to own Matt Stafford. So I'm going. I accidentally wrote down Rams 49. Let me fix that. 49ers +4.5. And the listeners are going Rams -4.5. Patriots at Dolphins +6.5. It's that week. It's the last game of the year. Dolphins versus Patriots games. The listeners are going Patriots -6.5. Danny, I'm going Dolphins +6.5. I'm on Miami. I know they got blown out last week, and it was my big Miami's gonna do something. But I'm going. It's Miami. The end of the year versus New England. I'm keeping with tradition. I'm going Dolphins +6.5. Justin, who do you got?
2019, it was one of my favorite moments ever, where I was in the stands of MetLife Stadium, absolutely going berserk over Ryan Fitzpatrick beating the New England Patriots because it helped the Giants draft spot, and it also meant that Week 17's game against the Eagles in 2019 meant nothing. So that means I could just root for the Giants. Give me Patriots -6.5.
Daniel.
How was that game? That was miserable weather as well.
It rained. It was a rainy December game.
It was horrible. I'll also be taking the Dolphins. Love Miami, and like Bobby said, the Miami just plays the Patriots well in this final game of the season. Even though it's a Week 18 now, they might not recognize it yet.
Seahawks at Cardinals -6.5. Usually I would, or actually, you know what, Danny, you go.
I'm taking Cardinals because they're the better team. Is this Russell Wilson's last game in Seattle?
I don't think it is, to be honest.
Storylines. No, you don't.
No, I don't think I think Seattle's going to say no, and Russell Wilson doesn't have it in him to do the Aaron Rodgers.
This is definitely
stuff.
Pete Carroll's last game though in Seattle.
Think so.
I think so.
I'll go. I got Cardinals. Usually I would pick the Seahawks and like Russell Wilson, but the Cardinals, I just think they win this game by a touchdown. I picked the listeners picked them as well. Justin, who are you going with?
Cardinals -6.5. If Russell Wilson is going to stay in Seattle, I want the Cardinals to bury Seattle this game so Pete Carroll is fired. Get Pete Carroll out of there. Give Russell Wilson somebody he can actually work with.
But I feel like Seattle winning is good for our draft.
But I think the Cardinals still are playing for they're playing for the division still. I think, right? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, let me look at draft Tankathon.
Tankathon, love that website.
We're not winning against Washington.
No, but I'm
So
trying the Bears pick.
Justin, where's that?
The Bears pick.
Where's that optimism?
If Seattle wins and the Bears lose, that pick will go up to 7.
All right. Well,
Come on.
my rooting interests are different, but I think the Cardinals are going to bury the Seahawks.
Word up.
Maybe Larry Fitzgerald will make a comeback for the playoffs.
Come back. Last NFL pick of the year. We got Chargers at Raiders +3. The Chargers beat them by 2 touchdowns in LA earlier in the year. The Raiders, I just don't trust them against better than average teams. Like an average team, I'll pick the Raiders. Any team that's better than average, I'm not. So I'm going Chargers -3. Listeners are going Raiders +3. Justin, what are you going?
Chargers -3.
Daniel.
I'll be taking should have been New York Giants quarterback Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay. Should I add this game? So
It's for fun.
I put it on, but should I add it to the record? Because the only reason I wouldn't is because it's Monday night, and I kind of want to put out like the final standings, on a Monday tweet.
No. Then we'll do this for fun.
Yeah. So that's the end of the NFL spread picks this year. The listeners could let's see. How many picks did me and the listeners disagree on? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so me and the listeners disagreed on 4 picks, so the listeners could overtake me.
Root for Blair.
Rooting for Blair. Blair sent me actually a note to my office.
Oh.
It was nice.
What did it say?
I can't. But it was basically like, hey, support.
Oh, it was
like
a
supporting you guys. It's appreciate you.
Thought it had like rice in it or something.
Alabama versus Georgia -2.5 in the national championship. Listeners went Georgia. I mean, this is Alabama, right? Like, Alabama as an underdog? Come on now. Alabama +2.5.
Screw it. I want to end the year off with one more wrong pick. Georgia -2.5.
I love these. I want, like, the whole Georgia defense on the Giants. I do. Danny, who are you picking?
I saw with my own eyes. Georgia's really good. Granted, they beat up on Michigan. That's nothing special. So, like, but I don't. Georgia's quite good, and I think they can I think they can have the formula this time around. I'm gonna take Georgia with the +2.5, or no, -2.5. They're for some reason favorites.
All right. Before we give our final game predictions in the final episode of the season, reminder: unless Gettleman is fired on Sunday, there will be no episode on Monday. We will have an episode out on Tuesday regardless of what happens, because at least there'll be end of the year coaching pressers. And then when Gettleman is gone, we will have an episode that we will record it that day and have it out, as kind of as soon as possible type thing. So just know that there's going to be no game recap on Monday. So we appreciate you guys, all your support this year. And I almost ended the episode. Danny, what's your score prediction for Giants versus Washington?
Love all the listeners. You guys are great. Fantasy draft's the most important thing this show has had since probably like week 8. Giants are gonna I hope they get embarrassed. I'm gonna be quite frank. I hope they get like punched into oblivion into ground, like bang, bang, bang. I hope they get shut out. Giants are gonna win. No, they're not gonna win actually, because they're gonna lose to the Washington football team and Taylor Heineke. 35-3.
Justin, what's your score prediction? 35-3. I'm gonna win the fantasy draft.
Washington 13, Giants 6.
Oh, Mikey has an opinion though.
Wow, how about that? All right, so I'm gonna tell you guys something. I'm not rooting for the Giants to win this week. I am rooting for them to lose for the draft spot. Now, does draft spot always matter? No, because we look at 2019 and we won the Andrew Thomas Bowl when you think back at it. But there's no young player on this team that I'm like super invested in playing well. Like Andrew Thomas is fun to watch him, but he's good. Kadarius Toney's not going to play. Daniel Jones isn't going to play. So there's no just young players I'm super invested in playing well. Where in 2019 versus Washington, I was rooting like crazy for Daniel Jones. And, come on, throw a game-winning touchdown. Let's do it. We don't have that. I have no interest in Jake Fromm. In fact, I almost want to see Brian Lewerke play just because screw it. Here's the issue. The Giants are going to win 77-0 on Sunday. They're going to do it. So one last time for the kids, Giants 77, Washington 0. We do appreciate you guys, all your support this season. It's just beginning now. It really is. We hit you with 2 episodes a week. Stay along with us for the ride this year. Stay along with us. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you when we see you. Until then, enjoy your damn ass weekend. Enjoy one last Giants game. I know it sucks, but I'm going to enjoy it. Until then, let's go Big Blue.